Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Big Data Show. We've got Mr. Jeremiah Baumbach, who is a co-founder of Iron Pixel Studios, which happens to be where we shoot The Big Data Show. He's got a cutting-edge facility here, so welcome to the show, Jeremiah.
Thank you for having me in my own podcasting studio.
Absolutely. So, Jeremiah, could you give us a little background on yourself and really what inspired you to put together this cutting-edge studio? I mean, you've got podcast studio space, you've got green screen space. I mean, you've got a lot going on here.
Well, I've been in the industry for over 20 years. I'm an Emmy-nominated cinematographer, and Mark has been in the industry just as long, even longer.
And Mark's your partner, right?
Yes. Mark is the co-founder. Well, we have the space here, and we've rented some spaces before in the past, and I've amassed a lot of gear, a lot of production gear over the years, and it was in my home, and it was in storage, and I had a van, and I got a truck, and we needed a place to put all this stuff. I needed a place to put all this stuff. It was just overwhelming because I'd wanted a studio, Mark had wanted a studio, and we decided to collaborate on a space, and that's what we have done. And we're still in the process of doing a couple things to put the finishing touches on, but we put a space together that we wanted, that we've worked out the bugs working with other people and said, well, it'd be great if it had this or that. So that's the space we've built here.
Very cool, very cool. So, just in this studio alone, it's one of the studios here at this, what's 2,500 square foot facility? Yes. Is that right? So just in this studio alone, it's a 3-camera setup for anybody that wants to podcast. So you want to talk about some of the gear and, how cutting edge that gear is?
Well, we've got a couple things. In this particular room we're in right now, this is one of the 2 podcast sets. And these LED lights here, we can change them for anybody's colors for their branding. Across from us, what you can't see out there, is another couch, red sofa, and like a 3D printed wall that we have. That's a kind of a hipster set. This set's a little darker. On the other side of the studio space, we have another setup, much more high key. It's kind of a wood wall, more of a more natural look, and we have a kind of this ivy green wall, it's kind of a feminine look, but it's also much brighter and high key. So there's a couple of other options that people have. We also have a kind of a corporate news desk. It's more of a kind of newsy podcast or corporate, hey, this is what's happening in our company. This is our company briefing sort of thing. We have that space.
It really gives that versatility. So, no matter if you want to look like a news anchor set or, if you want something that's like a real stylish podcast episode like this or something that's more trendy like a red couch background, you've got a lot of versatility when it comes to what you can cater to per guest.
Absolutely.
Very cool. So talk to us about the sound quality here, because I know you guys have a whisper booth, for voiceovers. So when it comes to sound, what is your standard of sound quality given, your long career and knowing what the, top quality is?
Well, sound is 51% of your finished project. 51, not 50, 51. It's more important than the visuals, really. People will look at an out of focus image. They'll look at something that's shaky, but they won't listen to bad sound.
Sure.
So sound is absolutely paramount. We do have a whisper room for recording voiceovers. We also have a lot of soundproofing we've installed here in this space, just to block ambient noises from outside. And the goal here is actually to be able to have multiple productions going on at once on opposite sides of the studio that won't interfere with each other. As we're speaking now, my partner is across from us, drilling holes in something, and I don't hear any noise.
You'd never know it.
Nope.
You'd never know it. And we're in Florida, so there's a lot of rain. That happens a lot here. So you guys soundproof the roof and everything, right?
We actually did some soundproofing on the roof this morning.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So talk to us about the green screen, the chroma key technology. That's something that's real exciting, for any customer that, wants to come in and just completely be in a whole nother world. What does that look like for Iron Pixel Studios?
We have a quite large green screen. It's a cyc wall, wooden cyc wall. It's large enough to park a car in front of, so it gives you an idea of the size. We have a bay door here. We can pull a car into our studio quite easily. And we are in the process of moving into kind of a virtual production with the Mars Vive system and Unreal Engine so that clients can create any kind of virtual world they want, and we can do, instead of doing on-location work, we can produce that content here within Iron Pixel Studios.
Right, but you guys also do field work as well, right? I mean, you got that big truck full of gear out front too, right? So.
Yes. We got a 1.5-ton grip truck. that we can take out on locations, plus our camera gear. We can go out. If someone doesn't need the studio, they need us to go on location. We're very capable of doing that as well.
Very cool. Very cool. So, let's talk about just the photography capabilities. People that need like corporate headshots or models or actors. I know you guys are equipped for that as well. So, what type of cameras do you use? Do you guys offer the editing here? What does that look like?
Well, this space isn't just for us. We also have it for other industry professionals, I'd say. We do have our green room is kind of doubling as a headshot studio. You can go in there and you could shoot headshots. Space isn't huge, but you could definitely shoot headshots in there. And we've already got a couple paper backdrops mounted to the ceiling. Boom, they're ready to come down. The space we've built, we've tried to make it as transformative as possible so that people can come in and they can use it for their needs. And we want to make it as turnkey as possible. You come in, you turn on the lights, you make a little tweak, you're ready to shoot. We don't want to have potential professionals come in and they spend all the time getting ready to shoot. And the client's like, okay, when are you ready? When are you ready? What's going to happen? Yeah. So we want to be very turnkey. So yeah, you can do headshots, full body shots. Our green screen cyc wall, we have a white paper backdrop that's 12 feet across. We can drop as well to do a white limbo look. And we also have a black limbo look.
Very cool. Very cool. So a lot of capabilities here. With Iron Pixel Studios, technological prowess, I guess what's the process whenever you have somebody come in? Is it like an onboarding form that they fill out so that you gain what they want to accomplish while they're here, like telling a story? Like, what is that like for each client? How does it differ?
That's a challenging question to answer because every client's got different needs. Mm-hmm. We can provide everything here at Iron Pixel Studios, or if somebody is an independent producer, independent filmmaker, and they have some of their own tools, they're welcome to come into this space and use it. I'd like to talk a minute about our editing bay. We have an editing bay. So a lot of times somebody might go, I can edit at home, but the client wants to come and look over your shoulder while you edit and make suggestions.
Yeah.
We have a space for that. So you can get most of your work done and then come here. We have an M2 Mac, very fast, top of the line currently. And you can come in, sit down, work on your project with them, very comfortable space. The monitor's off to the side, the client's on a couch, they're not looking over your shoulder, but you can come in here and do final touches on the project with clients.
Got it. Very cool. So I'm interested to hear just a little bit more about who Jeremiah is and the projects. Like, what's the most exciting project you've ever worked on? What type of clients do you typically service? Is it more corporate? Is it more creative? Is it both?
It's more corporate. Here in Central Florida, a big part of the business is trade shows and conferences that come to town. That's kind of the bread and butter here in Central Florida. Okay. There are some commercials, and there is some narrative work, but not as much. Really, the focus is corporate, and that's who we're kind of targeting. We welcome with open arms independent filmmakers and such, but really our focus is for corporate people who know what they want, and are organized. So that's kind of who we're focusing on. The kind of projects we've done right now. Oddly enough, puppets are on
like puppet shows.
Well, two different. One's a puppet show. Something potential. I was on the horizon. It was my partner Mark has worked with some people up in New York, very well-known puppetry company up in New York area, and another gentleman recently came in with a stop-motion project, and he was interested in the physical space, and the green screen would be the background for his world. He has a sets and village, but he needs kind of the sky in the background. So kind of two things along the same lines that have just kind of. The puppetry's been on the works for a while, but the stop-motion animation kind of came out of a left field recently, but that's another opportunity we've had. So those are a couple of things we have on the horizon right now.
Very cool. Interesting. So that's a lot of capabilities, a lot of technologies. Every time I come here, it seems like you're buying a new camera, buying some new gear, buying a new computer. You guys are always staying ahead of the curve. So that's something that I certainly value and appreciate whenever I come here with my guests and shoot the Big Data Show. So what's next for Iron Pixel Studios? You've got a few things on the horizon that you mentioned. You mentioned puppetry. You guys do like cooking shows. You do like news anchor shows. So it's very versatile. So what's next?
Next is we're going to put the finishing touches on a couple more set pieces. and we're going to add a little bit more soundproofing. And really, probably the next thing on the horizon for us is an open house.
Okay.
And we're really trying to get the word out shortly to local professionals that this space exists.
Sure.
And there's some people that have heard of it. There's a few people that have stopped by, but we're just still in the opening phases, the soft opening, so to speak. And really, that's the biggest thing is we're going to be launching and doing some heavy marketing.
Very cool.
In the near future.
Very cool. Well, you can count on the Big Data Show and my company Invatimate to spread that gospel for you right around here in the Orlando area and Florida in general. So there you have it, you guys. Jeremiah Baumbach, thank you for being on the show. Iron Pixel Studios. I'll drop a link for everybody that wants to check it out. If you need a great studio, he's your guy.